Hey guys, before this video starts, since this video is Finding Nemo related, I want to show you all this. Yes, the Finding Nemo redubs. For those of you that don't know, it's been a big project that's been in the works for almost 5 years. It's finally moving with 4 parts out. There'll be more coming soon. If you haven't done so, please take a look at this. Like, show some support to not just me, but to the wonderful cast that put so much hard work into it. Anyway, enjoy the video. It has been 10 years since Finding Dory, the sequel to Finding Nemo, came into theaters. Like, I remember as a little kid in 2012 or 2013, Ellen DeGeneres announced that there was going to be a sequel to Finding Nemo. Now, for those of you that don't know, Finding Nemo is my favorite movie of all times. Like, in general, like, ever. I'm like the #1 Nemo fan. Like, I know everything. Like, I'm not joking. I'm being for real. Like, you can tell my friends that. But like, when that sequel was announced, I was hyped, and knowing that it was gonna be about Dory, because Dory is my favorite character of the franchise, I was hyped. And then like, I was so hyped, I cannot wait for a trailer. And like, you know, people did like fan trailers and all that. Until 2015, they finally released the trailer, and I was automatically hyped. I was hyped, and then as time passed, more trailers came out, you know, clips, previews, TV spots, featurettes, behind the scenes, merchandise. I watched all that. I bought the merchandise. I was excited. Like, you have no idea how hyped I was for this movie. And then when the movie came out, June 17th, day one, I watched it with my cousin, watched it in 3D. My eyeballs were like this the whole time, and I loved it. And I still love it to this day. And since this day marks 10 years since Finding Dory come out, I think it's right for me to do a video about this. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my review on Finding Dory. First of all, the story itself is just beautiful. Obviously, Finding Nemo will always be my personal favorite, but it doesn't mean I dislike Finding Dory. Absolutely not. I love Finding Dory. It's definitely one of my favorite Pixar sequels, and probably one of my favorite sequels of all times. There's just something about Finding Dory that just feels so right. Obviously, from the title, Dory is the main character. And, you know, Dory is my favorite character of the franchise. And her getting her own movie is just wow. And it makes sense, because there's a lot about Dory that we don't really know about. It's mysterious. We know she's been alone, she's had short-term memory loss, but we never really saw, you know, her backstory. So the movie really takes a deep dive, no pun intended, into Dory's, you know, childhood. With her as a baby and with her parents, and seeing how her parents deal with Dory's short-term memory loss, how patient they are. They're trying to help her so that way she can finally go out there and do what she wants. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't end well, since Dory got sucked into the undertow and into a pipe and out into the ocean. And she's just spending years and years trying to find her family, and as she grew up, she started to forget her family, which is very, very sad. I remember tearing up, like just seeing how much Dory has evolved, and just slowly starting to forget who her parents are, where they are, and it's tragic. But anyway, the main story is about Dory trying to find her parents. Now, some people say it's kind of misleading, you know, it's called Finding Dory. And yes, Dory does get captured, but that's not like the main part of the story. But I think I could see why they call it Finding Dory. It's about finding herself, her past, who she is, where did she come from. It's finding herself. That's where I get it from. And I'm sure a lot of people got it from that too. And I actually like that. That's kind of clever. I don't know if Andrew Stanton intended for that. But anyway, it was just beautiful. And I think what really stands out is how it deals with disabilities. Because this movie deals with a lot of characters with disabilities. Obviously, you have Dory with short-term memory loss, Hank the octopus, or septopus, who is missing a tentacle. You have Destiny that has a hard time seeing. And you have Bailey having a hard time using his echolocation, even though he's perfectly fine, whatever. It's unknown if he was actually telling the truth or if he was just being a whiner. I don't know.
He thinks he can't use his echolocation, but I've overheard the doctors talking.
I'm right here.
There's not a thing wrong with him.
But it's just the way they deal with it is just beautiful. And I think it just really shows that your disability does not define who you are. It's about your personality, the character, who you are as a person, or in this case, a fish. And I love that. I really appreciate the moral of the story. You can improve, get stronger, and just move forward. And that's what Dory does. She tends to forget, but she keeps going and going and going and going. She doesn't stop. And that right there led to her finding her family. That's how smart Dory is. Dory is much smarter than we all think. She can search for little details, and then boom, she remembers something. We all saw that in the in Finding Nemo when she saw the Sydney logo, and automatically, boom, she remembers her journey with Marlin. But overall, the story itself is just incredible. Has a wonderful moral. It's emotional. It's definitely there's definitely a lot of emotional stuff in this movie, at least in my opinion. Anyway, let's get to the characters, because like that, this is probably what I'm going to be talking about the most in. I've already talked about Dory. Dory is done so well. Like, she is a comedic relief in the first one, but not 100% comedic relief. But I love what they did with her in this one, because unlike other comedic reliefs like Mater from Cars 2, she's not stupid, she's not unlikable. They don't always make her funny or stupid and all that. Well, no, she's not stupid, but you know, she has short-term memory and she's just energetic so many times. But in this one, we really see more depth into Dory. How she's struggling. She just wants to help. She wants to find a family, and she's serious. She can be really serious, and I love how we see moments where Dory snaps at characters that do her wrong, like Hank.
Just give me the tag,
You know something? For a guy with 3 hearts, you're not very nice.
And then we see her motivate other characters with disabilities, like you know, of course, Hank, Destiny, and Bailey. And I really love the speech she made about being released.
Listen to me. I have one goal in life, one.
No,
and
you listen to me. A friend of mine, her name's Sigourney, once told me that all it takes is 3 simple steps. Rescue, rehabilitation, and on one other thing that is... That's right!
But yeah, Dory is done perfectly. Like, no flaws whatsoever. Alright, let's talk about Marlin and Nemo. I love Nemo in this movie. He's the kind of character that always has to be the voice of reason most of the time, with especially with his father Marlin.
I think we should devise an alternate plan. One that involves staying in the water and someone saying...
That's fine, Dad. And in the meantime, Dory will just forget us. Like you said, it's what she does best.
Fine.
Nemo has so much faith in Dory, and showing how frustrated he can be when Marlin keeps doubting her. I love how they made Nemo the voice of reason. How he has to tell his father, like, you know, like, it doesn't matter Dory got short-term memory loss, you know, she can do it. It's kind of like a reference to back in the first one of how Marlin underestimated Nemo's ability. And it's not just with Dory. Marlin has a problem with characters like Becky. Because, well, judging what Becky looks, Marlin thought, nah, there's no way she can do it. And, you know, speaking of Marlin, so this is when I have a slight flaw. Yeah, in terms of flaws of this movie, I have 2 flaws, but they're very small that don't really take me away from the movie. Marlin seems to be pulled back a little bit, where they kind of use, like, the first act personality from Nemo into this, which I understand. I understand what they're trying to go for. Marlin becomes so paranoid and not really trusting Dory that much, despite everything they did in the first movie. But in some instances, I can understand where Marlin is coming from. Nemo almost got killed. Now, of course, Dory didn't mean to, but she was being pretty reckless, and it almost led Nemo to getting eaten by the giant squid. So I don't blame Marlin for being so upset and paranoid, but I do think Marlin went too far.
Go wait over there and forget. It's what you do best.
However, I love how after Dory got captured, Marlin immediately regretted it with what he said.
Oh, it's my fault. It's all my fault. She got kidnapped and taken into whatever this place is.
And at the end of the day, he apologizes to Dory, and he fully trusts in her now. So I do like what they did with Marlin, and it just shows with Marlin, never judge a book by its cover, which kind of showed with what Marlin did to Becky. And yes, I know Becky looks crazy, but at the end of the day, Becky gets the job done. So, not much to say about Mr. Ray or Crush, because they don't really appear that much. But, I like them, still in character. Great to have the voice actors back. Let's talk about the new characters. Hank the Septopus.
You lost a tentacle? Well, then you're not an octopus, you're a septopus. May not remember, but I can count.
Hurry up!
Hank is definitely a character that we love and hate. And that's intentional. I don't know what Hank has been through in the ocean that makes him want to live alone in a tank.
I hear good things about Cleveland. Why do you want to go?
Because if I stay here, I'm going to get released back to the ocean. And I have extremely unpleasant memories of that place.
But I love how throughout the story, of course, he's a grumpy, selfish septopus. But then throughout the movie, he slowly starts to warm up with Dory, especially after Dory snapped at him. I think that right there was like a wake-up call, like, Hank, stop it. Just stop being such an asshole and listen. And especially after the touch pool scene, Hank realized, yeah, you know what? I underestimated the kid. I was too harsh on her. And that little heart-to-heart moment before Hank drops Dory in the in open ocean, that was just beautiful. I loved it.
I think I'm gonna remember you.
Ah, you'll forget me in a heartbeat, kid. 3 heartbeats. I'll have a hard time forgetting you, though.
And then, of course, throughout the movie, Hank decides, you know what? I'll join you guys in the ocean. And I love the dynamic between Dory and Hank when they're on the truck and trying to drive into the ocean. They're such a wonderful duo. I love it very much.
Hank, I'm gonna ask you to do something crazy.
I'm okay with crazy.
I like Destiny. Destiny's a pretty Destiny's a cute character. I like how she is the reason why Dory can speak whale. Now, if I remember correctly, whale sharks are actually sharks. They're not really whales. I could be wrong, but I like that though. We get more backstory of how Dory becomes Dory, basically.
We talked through the pipes when we were little. We were pipe pals.
She has such a cute personality. Like she may be big, but she's like so gentle. She's kind-hearted. She's just cute. Like that's all I can say. She's cute. And the moments whenever she snaps at Bailey is just hilarious.
Don't bail on me, Bailey!
Speaking of Bailey.
No, I know you're talking about me.
Bailey is such a whiner. And I just can't help but like him. Bailey, I don't really have much to say about Bailey. I love the use of his echolocation. And he does have a lot of funny moments.
Oh, look! There's a bunch of cute otters over there! I want one! Ow!
Hello, this is Editing Aaron here. There was one more thing I forgot to mention about Bailey. I love the duo with him and Destiny and how he encourages Destiny to overcome her sight disability. I really love that very much.
It's your destiny, Destiny.
Fluke and Rudder, don't really have much to say about them. Like, they served their purpose, they were funny, they helped out, they got Becky, and yeah, there's not much to say. And of course, what am I to talk about Finding Dory without talking about Dory's parents, Jenny and Charlie.
Hi, Dory.
Ahoy there!
They are the most patient parents I have ever seen. They are so sweet. Every time I see a flashback with them, I just get teary. I start getting emotional just of how sweet they are and how patient they are. They know what to say, they know how to help Dory. They're just wonderful parents. Marlin could take some notes from them. And the scene where they reunite, oh, again, there are so many emotional scenes in this movie that I lost track of. The Tank Gang themselves? Yes, I know some people are disappointed that the Tank Gang don't appear that much. They appear in the post-credits scene. But you know what? I don't really mind it. Would I love to see more of them? Yes, I do. And knowing that there was like a full deleted scene where they played a bigger role, I understand why they cut it, because it really felt like it was just about Marlin. It didn't really feel like, it didn't really support much to Dory's story and the plot. So I can understand why they cut it, but I don't know, I would kind of love to see the Tank Gang appear a little bit more, But who knows? With Pixar developing a Finding Nemo short film, there might be a possibility the Tank Gang would return. We'll see. And as for the animation, the soundtrack, and the voice acting, I mean, they're all fantastic. First of all, the animation is beautiful as always. Of course, it has changed. And I really loved how, you could definitely tell how much has changed, especially when they recreated the scene when Dory met Marlin for the first time. So, and just like they use the same angles, well, most of the same angles. So you definitely see like the difference, but it's still beautiful as always. The voice acting is on point as always. I mean, Ellen DeGeneres, Albert Brooks, they reprised their roles and they still killed it. Hayden does a phenomenal job as Nemo. Like, I keep forgetting Nemo is voiced by a different kid. And he just nailed it. While also adding a bit of maturity into Nemo.
Yeah, Dad, you can get us all the way across the ocean, right?
I know the movie takes place a year after the first film, so we see a little bit of maturity into Nemo's character. And Hayden did a phenomenal job with it. Ed O'Neill as Hank, Ty Burrell as Bailey, Caitlin Olsen as Destiny, all three of them did a phenomenal job. Idris and Dominic did a great job as Fluke and Rudder. And even though they appeared in the post-credit scene, it is nice to see the Tank Gang voice actors reprise their role. Well, most of them, because I know the voice of Jacques from the first movie passed away, Joe Raft. Going back to Ellen DeGeneres, she really shines in this movie.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, honey.
What?
Oh, honey, no. Cupcake.
I know I've got a problem. I'm so sorry, and all this time I wanted to fix it.
Because Dory is the main character and there's more depth into this, Ellen DeGeneres really went all out with Dory. And I could tell she's just having a ball with the character. And of course, the soundtrack. Thomas Newman returns and just delivers another beautiful soundtrack. I love how he even brings back some of the previous pieces of music from the first movie into this. Like the Lost theme, the Nemo Egg theme, and the First Day theme. But also the original music is just beautiful as well. Like, the Dory theme is my personal favorite of this movie. It's so emotional, and it just really captures who Dory is. The Lost at Sea is so heartbreaking. Thomas Newman just kills it as a composer.
Unforgettable. That's what you are.
And I think that's it. Again, nothing can top the first movie, but Finding Dory as a sequel, as a movie, is just beautiful. It didn't feel rushed, it didn't feel like a cheap cash grab. I could definitely tell there was a lot of passion and work into this movie, especially since you have the director Andrew Stanton, who directed the first movie, returning and just showing how much love he has for Nemo and Dory. I did mention one of the flaws where Marlin was a little bit too much in the first act of how he was being too paranoid, which is kind of contradicts his development a little bit, but not that much really. It didn't really bother me. Now, some people say this movie is a rehash of the first one. Yeah, I can kind of see that a little bit, which that's the second flaw. There were a couple of moments that felt like a rehash, but I didn't really get that throughout most of the movie. Like, 95% of this movie is original. People can disagree with me on that, but that's just my opinion. It didn't feel like a rehash. But yeah, overall, Finding Dory, beautiful movie. I give it a 9.5 out of 10. But tell me, what do you guys think of Finding Dory? Tell me in the comments below. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. And don't forget to be really useful. And just keep swimming.